Hello everyone. How are we doing? We're live. It's Monday. We haven't been live on a Monday for a while, but we're here. We're live on a Monday. How's it going? You guys good? You guys happy? Let's go with you. Why not? Yeah. I never knew you streamed. Glad I found out now. Yes, we stream on most Mondays, not all, but we stream on Mondays at roughly 5:30 p.m. GMT. Although we're 15 minutes late because I had to go to the dentist earlier for the hygienist appointment. And we stream on Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. GMT as well. We do 2 streams a week in an ideal world and 2 videos a week. Generally, it's what we try to do. Fake Street Spirit, thank you very much for being a member for 23 months. Happy belated New Year to you and to you. And King Lupus as well, member for 19 months. 19 months, let's go. Let's go indeed. Teeth feeling too clean. Yeah, well, yeah. It's mostly just I'm coming down off the stress of going. So, like, any benefits of having super clean teeth, it's like, ugh. I'm a very nervous dental patient. I hate going to the dentist. So, there we go. Anyway, how are we doing? You guys, guys happy? Guys good? Guys enjoy the content at the weekend? If you follow me on Instagram, if you're in the Discord, you will have seen, of course, that this week coming up, we have Necrosaur Amantar and we have the Wardens of Ultramar with Captain Titus as well. Because the Nightbringer dropped on Saturday. Thank you very much to everybody watching that video. It's had over 5,000 views. It's a good video. I'm very pleased. I would have been very, very upset if that had been a bad video. But yeah, we got there in the end with it, eh? It's made me want to spend £200 on a Necron's army, which we can talk about a little bit later. There's basically I know I can get hold of a couple of the 500 Worlds boxes, so if I can get 2 of those, I can do the Nightbringer, the Void Dragon, Zarek the Silent King, a couple of Hexmark destroyers, the Scorpek Lord, 6 Scorpek destroyers, 6 Ophidian destroyers, and 4 heavy Locust heavy destroyers as well. That's the army. That's it. That would be it. So it's not a huge amount of models to do, but I don't have that kind of cake lying around to buy a lot of Necron models that I'm probably not going to get a chance to do for a little while. So yeah, the Deceiver is looking tragic now. Oh, I'm sure the Deceiver will get something done. Hello, Sam. I'm going well. How are you? Hello, Ishmael. The Nightbringer was amazing. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Necrosaur Amantar. We'll probably drop Titus first. We'll probably do that video on... Actually, do you know what? We might do a video tomorrow. Or I might just hold one. Basically, there's a stream on Friday, because that's the Warhammer preview. So we'll be doing a watch along then on Friday, and I don't like to do a stream and a video on the same day. I have to figure out a way to get them all out. I have to get them out there into the community. Saw your work in the community article. Looking good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good evening, Chrysler. How's it going? Today, what we're doing, we're going to paint some Sloven Knights is what we're going to do. We're going to finally start the Sloven Knights. Because I wanted to paint Maggotkin last week. I couldn't paint Maggotkin last week because I was painting Necrons and Ultramarines last week. So Maggotkin have just been pushed back and back and back and back and back. We are going to get them done, though. I really want to get them done because I really love all these models. So that's what we're going to do today. Unless anybody has any other ideas, we can do something else. But we've got Sloven Knights. There they are. Yeah. Gorgeous models. Beautiful. So I've got an idea on how to paint them. as you would hope. As you've come to expect. No doubt. Sometimes the Warhammer community article is just better, because they give you a close-up of every single one of the models in their preview articles. Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. So yeah, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be painting up some Maggotkin of Nurgle. So we'll probably get the we'll probably be able to get the horse recipe done today. We're going to film it as well, of course. So for those of you who haven't been around before, we do like to film things live. You get to see how I film things live. And we'll jump into that in just a second. But I'll just keep chatting to you guys for a minute. Go for a green theme. I'll just go for the box art as always. Their horses do not look happy. No, they are indeed somber horses. They are the somberest of horses. Managing to attend a live Warhipster scheme is part of my New Year's resolutions. Ah, there you go. Which is the best kit out of new Maggotkin? How do the new Blight Kings compare to the old ones? I like them all. I think my favourite kit is the Sloven Knights. I just think they're a really cool addition to the Maggotkin. It's kind of like a, I guess you'd call it like a light, almost a light cavalry option, or the Puscoil Blight Lords are the light cavalry option, whichever it is, but they feel like a lighter cavalry option to the Maggotkin, which is really cool. And I like the Rotsaws as well as like a heavy infantry, and then the Blight Kings are a heavy infantry. So yeah, we still got a lot of them to do, to be honest. So I'm gonna get the first paint prepped and ready. And then we're gonna get going. Sloven Knights make me want a Nurgle army, but I can't make a Nurgle army with just Sloven Knights. Yes, you can, James. That's exactly what you can do. I don't know how many points they are actually. How many points are Sloven? Have they revealed that yet? Because we haven't done a just paint or play yet. Let's have a look. I imagine it won't come out until later this week, but let's see. Faction packs. No, it won't be in there. It'll be in key downloads. It'll be battle profiles. It has not been updated since mid-December last year, so no, the points won't be out yet, which is a bit plums. But you can do there's no rule of 3 or anything, so you can just do Sloven Knights. Led by Harbingers of Decay, which you've done a beautiful job on already, as we all know. Yeah, no, they're not out yet. Alright. Hello, Pip242. Gives me hope for other Chaos Knights. Well, we shall have to wait and see. We don't know what's happening with Disciples of Tzeentch. Yeah, Strike and Fleshshade is what we need. And we also need Lamian Medium. Because we're going to go for a 2-to-1, but I'm going to mix 4-to-2. So we can get through more of the horse. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then 1, and then 2, and then mixy. Right, are we ready? We're ready. Everyone ready? Quiet on set and all that good stuff. Let's go to this screen right here. Boom! And let's get the shots sorted out. For those of you who find this part funny, here we go. Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial from the Maggotkin of Nurgle. Yes, we are back in the Age of Sigmar once more with, well, the somberest of horses for the Maggotkin of Nurgle. And I've been really excited to paint these because I think they're absolutely fantastic miniatures. And, well, a massive thank you goes out to Games Workshop, who very kindly sent me these early to build up and paint with all of you, and that is exactly what we are going to be doing today. So I've only got one XL painting handle, so we're going to have to swap between. But there's not really going to be that much that comes up that's different. There's no musician, there's no standard bearer, there's nothing like that. So really it's just going to be applicable across all three. But of course, if something does come up, for example on the horses, we shall of course point it out as we go along. So we're going to focus on this guy just for the moment, but we will be doing the other two at the same time. And all three of our Sloven Knights have been painted, or primed I should say, in grey. No, Wraithbone, that's the one. Anyway, let's jump in and let's start painting. So the colour we're going to be using first is a roughly 2 parts Reichland Flesh Shade to 1 part Lamia Medium mix. And we're going to be applying this over the top of, well, just all of the horse. So we're just going to start in here, under there. And we're just going to start getting this over the top, like so. And of course, I've mixed this up as 4 parts Reichland Flesh Shade to 2 parts Lamia Medium, just so that we've got enough to get through at least one whole horse. But this is going to add a nice sort of fleshy base to anything else we want to add afterwards, like boils and rents in the flesh or any bone or anything like that that might come up. Because it's a shade paint, we can be a little sort of over enthusiastic with the application here. Should we wish to be. So we can got a lot more drying time. Boom, we're off. We're ready to go. Anyway. So how are you guys? What have you guys been up to? What have you guys been painting? Oh, it is kind of a... Yeah, we'll just do it. So yeah, I'm now going to do this across all three, so it's just going to take a little while. But there isn't a huge amount of horse actually on display, which is nice. Makes for a lovely change. That's why I'm hesitant to call them like a light cavalry option, because they're covered in quite a lot of barding. I'm pretty certain the horse tails are black. Yes, they are. And the really good news is that because there isn't very much horse flesh on display, we can We don't have to do a ton of horse highlights. So that's fabulous. And because the rest of the model's quite dark, we also don't have to worry too much about getting right and flesh shade in places we don't particularly want it, which is always lovely. Right, one done. Way. See what you guys are saying in the chat, rather than looking at pictures of Sloven Knights. What are we doing? Just assembled my Sloven Knights over the weekend. Can't wait to get started on them. Did you have problems getting the third one together? Mine was a bit difficult. No, I didn't really have much in the way of struggles with these guys. I thought they were pretty simple. There was occasionally some bits, I can't remember where. It might have been the third guy. There was occasionally some bits where it's like, huh? Why does that... Oh, and then it kind of makes sense. Is it the third one where you have to sort of click it in a bit? I've learnt not to trust my own eyes when it comes to building models, especially when I'm making sprue reviews about them. Oh, these poor horses, man. They are not healthy. For those of you who don't know, I love horses. They're in my top 5 of all-time favourite animals. I am probably something of a horse girl, for those of you who know that term. I definitely was as a teenager. Alright, we might have to mix up some fresh paint in just a minute, which means I'll be able to read chat. But I've got to get it to a good place where we're not halfway through a muscle or anything like that. That's the key. So just getting the head done is... There we go. I built Lady Malice the other day, and you have to build her little stickman skeleton first. It's so weird. Yeah. There's... Do you know what? Something I've noticed so far this year is that with a lot of the Games Workshop kits, I think they watch my sprue reviews. Because stuff like the Nightbringer... And I think Necrosort, Amantar, and I think Festus the Leech, I can't remember. They've started to move towards a lot of those instructions being in order, numerical order. So part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. As in components, not just, you know, the order of operations, but that the actual components are in order in the instruction manual, which I've been saying for a while would just make a lot more sense. Instead of like, sometimes where it's like, hey, glue component 57 to component 3. It's like, why? Yeah, that's just how we labeled it. So, yeah, but why? So I've noticed a lot more models being just in order of component number, which is really cool. It's really good. Because if they're all in order of component number, then theoretically it means you should only need the instructions as a light touch instruction, rather than to be fully reliant on them. Because if you know it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know which component you're looking for next. Which I love. I love as a vibe. I think that's great. Horse girls are just cat ladies with more money. Well, I also am a cat lady. Without any cats. But when we move, damn it. Many people think that one of the main motivators for us wanting to move is so that I can have a much better studio. And that's true. That is one of the main motivators for us wanting to move. But also, realistically, it's so that we can have cats. No more joins on sword edges. They've been taken. Oh no, well that still keeps happening. Did anybody else in chat come close to starting a Necron army this weekend? I'm still simmering on the edge. I did also think the other day, I don't need to buy any Necrons. I could just go ahead and finish all the ones that came in Dark Imperium? No, the other one. Indomitus. Yeah. Because I never actually did finish them. I did a video for everything that was in the box, so all the characters and all that I'd done. But like, I still have 2 Scorpec destroyers, 18 Necron warriors. What else came in that box? It was also before it was before I was part of the Games Workshop content creator program as well, so I didn't get actually sent all of the new stuff either. But there has been things like, what was it called? Tomb World. That came with some Necrons, of course, and we did that. We've done Imhotep. We've done Oracan. I have a Lord with Translocation Shroud. I think I've got all told. I've probably got about 30 Necron warriors in the house somewhere. So I could do that. That would be a thing to do. Behold my army. 30 Necron warriors, Zarek, and 2 Catan. Tremble before my might. But one of the reasons I was contemplating buying the 500 Worlds Necrons Battalion box or whatever it was is because I would quite like to do a bunch of stuff in the same colours that I did the Tomb World stuff in, which is that sort of all silver with green black on the carapaces and stuff. Because I really liked that scheme, and I thought it was very reasonably simple to do. It'd be fun to try and translate that onto something like the Destroyers, because they're a bit more, obviously, intense. Rather than do, what were they called? The Canoptic Circle? Is that the name of the Kel team? I think it was. Necron fans will know better than I do. And I'm like, this is the problem, right? I haven't even got close to finishing the Ultramarines project. For those of you who are also part of the Discord, and if you want to become part of the Discord, you can click that membership icon down below, or ask somebody to gift you one in the chat. Or you can go join via the Patreon as well, patreon.com/Warhipster. But we've been doing our 20 minutes a day, every day, on our Ultramarines army. We're up to the point where I have to apply Iron Warriors to all the silver details, which is pretty good going, to be honest. It's taken... it'll be 2 weeks this Wednesday, and I'm hoping to be either finishing the gold or... as in, like, finishing the application of the gold, or at least close to it. It'd be really good to have them all shaded by then, but I don't think that's going to happen. I can't tell if that's flesh, but I think it is, so I'm just going to paint it in. And if it isn't, we'll deal with it at a later date. Now we wait a little while for that to fully dry. But we're done. Reichland Flesh Shade applied across all 3 of our Sloven Knights. So whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, let's read chat. Hello there. Kirith Ungol army, perhaps? What, do that? How about Celestial Vindicator Crons? Yeah? It's a possibility. Anyway, so hello everyone. I started the Gloomspike Gitz army and found it too hard to paint Dankhold Troggoth. Your tutorial for Trog saved me, and now I'm hoping you will continue Troggoth. Maybe we will. Maybe. I have all 49 Jade Abbey models built and primed on my shelf, winking at me. Is that one project or 5? Nah, it's just the one. That's just the one project. I'm going to study some pictures. So our next colour is going to be some Caraberg Crimson. Which we need for, like, the bruising and, like, the tongues and stuff. Well, there's only one tongue. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to use a little bit of Rattling Grime as a blend on the legs. And then we need some Nazdrag Yellow for, like, boils and stuff. But then we can just move on to onto the cloth. And for that, I think what we need to do is we need to go and check out the Night Haunt. Or at least go and see what I did for Night Haunt, because it looks to me to be the same colour. I'm pretty sure there is a Night Hauntness about it. Maybe in the Pyregeists, perhaps. Let's have a look. If I recall, it's like Briar Queen Chill, followed by Pterodon Turquoise, followed by Black Templar. Something like that. Right, back to the beginning. Briar Queen Chill. Oh no, we're on the wrong model. That's the model I want. Okay. Briar Queen Chill. Pterodon Turquoise. Black Templar. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. I really liked your Titus model on Warhammer Community. Really looking forward to painting him up. Hopefully you'll have a painting video on all the Wardens. I will have a video that paints Captain Titus, Sergeant Gadriel, Veteran Sergeant Matorus, and all 4 of the advisors whose names I can't remember in one video. It will be long. It will be arduous, but you'll get there in the end. I divided them up into 2, basically. I did all 3 Space Marines and then did all 4 Wardens, but it's all part of the same video. Because there is crossover, but it's too much crossover to be like, we're going to do the blue on all of the armor, then on this guy's tunic, then on this guy's scarf. We're going to do all the brown on this belt, that pouch, this belt, that glove, this pouch. It would be too much. So I've done all 3 Space Marines, and then I've done all 4 Wardens, but it's all going to be in one video. That'll be out this week, maybe Thursday, and we'll do maybe Amantar on Saturday, because as I said, I forgot that there is a stream this Friday. So our videos are typically released on Saturdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, typically. So there's that to consider. Yeah. So yeah. But that video is on the way. And then hopefully this week I can get some more Maggotkin done. I'd like to start releasing Maggotkin videos next week. So I've got to get these Sloven Knights done this week. And also the bloody rot swords. I noticed your Ultramarines guides have 2 different recipes for the blue. Yeah, it should be fairly consistent since Contrast 2 came out. Especially in the last couple of things. I've generally cleaved towards the Calgar. I mean, they all work, right? But like the Calgar, Sicarius, Victrix on a Guard, that's the blue I've been focusing on. Titus should be the same as well. And the Wardens should be the same. And the Ultramarines army that I'm painting 20 minutes a day is also the same. I need to do that later. Obviously, I haven't done my 20 minutes yet because I was at the dentist, but it is what it is. Chat, if you haven't already, please do leave a like on the stream. That would be very, very nice. I would very much appreciate that. Got to get to 50 likes. And if you really fancy it and you want to support the channel a little bit further, we've already mentioned it, but we do have a goal just there to get 50 new members this week. So if you'd like to consider becoming a member or gifting some members to the community, I would really appreciate that. In this wonderful January. Is what it is. We're just waiting for Reichland Fleshshade to dry at the moment, which is pretty boring, but is what it is. So Caribou Crimson up next. Where is my Caribou Crimson? Is that it? Yes. Got it first time. We've probably got capacity to do this now. So we'll just do it. This only really goes over the top of this guy's tongue. And then over the top of some boils on another guy. So we'll just do that. Bosh. And then we'll go over here. So with that all done, once it's fully dry, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Caribou Crimson. We're going to apply this over top of just a few key areas. So one of them is the tongue, just here, on this particular Sloven Knight. And we're just going to get this all over the tongue, just leaving the tip of it. Because what we're then going to do is just wash the brush, touch off the water, and then just give it a cheeky little blend towards the end, like that. Lovely. And then, on one of our other ones, we're going to also look out for bruising around any sort of rents in the flesh. So we've got some just here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of that Caribou Crimson, not too much, and we're just going to apply this, like so, around that wound. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water once more, and then just stipple away at that transition line to just soften it out. Like that sort of thing. Boom. Oh. Right. Need to go on a little hunt for more. Which there is. What else have we got? Some around here. Like that. Any on the other side? Yeah, probably. Do that. Yep, I think we're good on that front. Alright. What's going on? When is the Tales? It's not planned yet. It will be soon. In the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. I have to go and do a lot more collating with this one. So this one's going to be the final Tales episode is just going to take a little bit more work to do, because we've got to deal with all of the who manages to submit every month and all that kind of thing. So I've got to figure that out. And that's going to take a little bit more effort than it usually does. But once I know, I'll let all of you know. There we go. Alright. Next job is Nasdreg Yellow. Hey, Sean. Love your painting videos. Do you have any tips for edge highlighting? Every time I try, I either have a way too thick a line in my brush, or in my brushes, the paint in my brushes dries in like 3 seconds. Are you thinning the paint down? Because you still have to thin it down. Don't go straight from the pot when you're edge highlighting. That's how you can rub it off really easy. I thin it with Lamy and medium. You might want to just try using water. It'll save you money. Thin it down a little bit more than normal. Do 2 parts water to 1 brush load of layer paint. It's an edge highlight at the end of the day. You don't want it to be... having it a bit thinner means it just lasts a bit longer, but also means it's not quite as strong as it's going on. So thin it down a little bit more than normal. And the other thing I would say is always rotate the model in such a way, if you can, to be able to apply your edge highlight along the edge at an angle rather than trying to draw it in on the edge. You want to have it at about 30, I think it's 30-degree angle to the model as you're going along. So you want to move the model around a lot more than you perhaps do. So, for example, if I'm highlighting, let's say I'm highlighting this guy, rather than trying to draw in the edge highlight like this, you want to move it like this kind of thing, and then move the model to get that edge, and then move the model to get that edge, move it back, come along like this, put it upside down to go across like that, and going along like this sort of thing. You see how I'm going past the model with the brush? Like that. Trying to do it like this is a surefire way to not do it very well. Thanks for your spirit. Thank you for the £2 super chat. Which AOS character would make the best coach at Man United? Archaon. Because Archaon rules with an iron fist. Archaon is the be-all and end-all of every decision that gets made. And that's what Fergie was. And the problem with that club is there's too many people who think they're in charge. Hello, Kataro. Question reminded me of an issue I have blending contrast where I get tide lines when I blend with a wet brush. Very, very faint, but still there. Are you using a wet brush? You shouldn't be using a wet brush. What you want to do is you want to wash the brush and touch off the water. Don't add water to it. If you add water to the contrast paint, you're definitely going to get that. You wash the brush. I do that, so I do this. But if you don't want to do that, get a bit of kitchen towel and just bap like that. You want the brush to be damp and flexible. You don't want to add a drip of water in. And just remember that you can add a bit of pressure. If you're getting what I think you're getting, which is that sometimes you get that line. I've got no way of demonstrating this, unfortunately. If you're getting that line at the edge of your contrast, if you just add a little bit of pressure to it, you don't want to just like gently tickle it. If you're getting that, you can just a little bit of pressure and it'll come right off. Is that what you're asking about? Like if I... What have I got? I'm sure I've got something. I don't really have anything, that's the problem. Nothing that's not earmarked for being painted. I mean, I suppose we could do it on one of these bases. Why not? Let's do that. So, like, I'm assuming what you're talking about. Let's just use some rattling grime. So if we go, because usually I thin stuff down, so we'll go 2:1 of rattling grime and Lamia medium. And like on this base, for example, if I apply a section like that, then leave it to dry for just a little bit too long, That should be enough. If I then... Are you talking about that little line that's there? Or maybe if I do it at this end. There we go. Are you talking about that little line that's there? That comes up. Because if I just add a bit of pressure... There you go. Kind of. See what I mean? But you've got to be quick with it. Like when I do it, if you see what I'm doing, if I'm going right, let's blend this into the base. So here's that rattling grime like that. I'm then washing the brush. That's the speed. And you're like, because there's nothing underneath that, and I'm not blending into any color. That is pretty much always going to happen. You're going to get a little bit of a... There we go. You just need to add just a little bit of extra pressure. Like that. I hope that helps. Does that help? Furnish down here. Ah, sure. My friend asked me to paint his Space Marine Devastator squad, but there is no tutorial for it. Which tutorials I should follow to accomplish this project? You're going to need to give me a little bit more than that. Literally any Space Marine video. What chapter are they? What color are they? The answer is if I've done a Space Marine, it's literally just copy and paste. There's no difference. Every Space Marine, once you do one Space Marine tutorial, you copy and paste onto every other Space Marine. There's only the occasional extra thing. So like Blood Angels, for example, they have the blue helmets. In which case, if you find one of my videos where they've got blue helmets, that's the one to follow. You see what I mean? That darn sheep with a $50 super chat. Bloody hellfire. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Big fan of you for the past 2 years. I was wondering if you could help me. When I follow you tutorials, I've noticed my contrast paints dry darker than the video. Thank you for what you do. I bet they don't, that darn sheep. I bet they don't. I'm under. One thing you have to bear in mind is what I'm doing here is if your paints look like if your model looks like it does when it comes to the final spinning shot, that is accurate. When it's under here, this is the super bright photography light, so you can see everything. You see what I mean? So like everything's gonna look brighter here than it does over there. Over there on the photography thing, that's where it's that's the proper color. But here is just so you can absolutely see everything looks proper, right? That's why it's so bright. You see? This is for the purposes of like, because I can't see if I put these, and you wouldn't be able to see either if I filmed this under real light conditions, as it were. So if they look like they do in the spinny shot, that's how it's coming out. That's how it's coming out here. It's just I'm under huge panel lights here and here, and there's exposures turned up a bit on the camera. So again, just so you can see stuff going on, as it were. So with that Carroburg Crimson all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Nazdreg Yellow, and we're going to apply this inside any of the wounds and over the top of any of the boils and sort of nurgliness scattered around the models. There we go. One of these horses is distinctly more ill than the other ones. It's this one. You don't have any. You don't really have any, but we're going to add some anyway. I'm going to pop some over this, just in there, like so. There's some there too. Why not? And then what we'll do is we'll use Griff Charger Grey to do any of the rest of it. I think. Why not? Yes. Lovely. All your contrast paint straight from the pot, or do you thin them a bit? No, so I do everything from the pot, unless on screen I tell you that I thinned it a bit. So it's like, it's a case of firstly, do not use a wet palette with your contrast paints. Stop putting contrast paints on wet palettes if that's something that you do. You don't need to put some on the palette and thin it down with a bit of water. You don't need to do that either. Contrast paint can go straight from the pot, not a problem. Unless, on screen, I say 2 to 1, 1 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, whatever. 5 to 2, 6 to 2, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Otherwise, no, I go straight from the pot. Base and layer paints, however, you do need to thin those down with a little bit of water. Nazreg Yellow is my new favourite paint. Bought it for Doom Diver Slurry Shoot, and it's a dream to work with. Oh, it's cute. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful paint. How about if you mix contrast with house paint? I mean, I don't know. Also, hello, Captain Manners. Has GW sent you that new Tyrannid with whip? No. 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 They have not. Sorry for being late. You don't have to apologise for being late. You don't even have to turn up at all if you don't want to. It's all good. No obligation. Okay. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Filming. And so with that Nazdrag yellow all applied, what we're then going to do for anything that remains of sort of illness and sort of spots and things, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Griff Charger Grey. I'm going to apply this over the top of that stuff. So there's one here, for example. We can apply some just there over that large boil. Just for a bit of variation in the model. There we go. See if we've got anything on the other side. Yeah, why not? We can apply some just over this one. Just there, like that. And we'll apply a little bit just there as well. And over the top of this closed eye. Boom. Has GW sent you the Dulux dog? No, no, haven't sent me that either. I'm not sure they have the jurisdiction to send me the Dulux dog. And how about you? Oh yes, you've got a big old spot right there on your... on your cheek. Okay. We're cooking. Been watching the VOD since the new year and have been taking a lot of great tips from Contrast Plus series for a while. Thanks for all you do. Oh, you're very welcome, John Adams. Josh is the best creator at improving my confidence with painting. Oh, that's very kind of you. That is a big compliment. can make a unit slash hero for any army. What would you make? I don't. The problem with I always say this. The thing with that is if I can imagine it, I don't want it. I don't want to be able to predict it. I don't want to. I don't want to be able to come up with the stuff that they want to that they do. If that makes sense. I like to be surprised. Because I don't have a very good imagination when it comes to that thing. So be like, oh, I'd like a thing with guns. It's like, wow. Really pushed the boat out with that imagination, didn't you there, bro? It's like, it's one of those things. It's like, you know, would I like, I would like, I mean, I would like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I like for Cities of Sigmar, I know what I would like them to do is I would like them to not just focus on humans. I'd like there to be another big release for Cities of Sigmar, and for them to focus on doing the dwarves or the elves, not both at the same time because they won't, but doing the other races of the Cities of Sigmar that live there. That would be really cool. But as to what goes into that, no idea, and I don't want to know, because if I can say I want it to be thunderers, hammerers, and blah blah blah. And that's then what it is. It's like, oh, lame. You know. So you know, it is what it is. That's the kind of that's kind of my vibe. That's been my problem with 40k for a lot of this last edition. Is it's been very predictable. So all of that skin on the horse is now, well, mostly sort of fully base coated. What we're going to do next is we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over top of the horse hair. And the reason I just twizzled it round then was there is the occasional bit of bone hiding in the horse tail. So you just want to avoid that where possible. Just like this sort of thing. Pow! Flying through it, chat. At this rate, we'll have finished them by the end of the stream. We won't. There is no universe where that's possible. It's Nurgly stuff. Nurgly stuff is not quick. Well, that's not technically true. Nurgly stuff is quite quick to get it up to battle ready. It's then when you want to take it to the next level where things slow right down. Because, like, you can, for example, like on metallics, you can just shade it all with Agrak Surf Shade for that sort of dirty look. Which definitely works. But it's like, if you want to do all the rusty stuff, it's, you know, adding the Scrag brown and the Deathclaw brown and all that kind of stuff as well. So it just all takes a little bit of extra-ness. You do not have any bones in your tail. That must be very, very uncomfortable. Not sure I'm going to manage a family photo. Planted my car in a hedge yesterday. I'm very sore. I have, however, loved them, painting them all, and the lovely comments from everyone has really helped me. Oh, no, you should look after yourself, Sean. I'm sorry you had a car accident. That sounds horrible. Are you okay? I should really do the hooves as well, actually. Forgot to mention it. Oh well. I'm just going to do it. Very sore, nothing really damaged, waiting to find out about the car. I'm glad you're okay. That's what's most important. Hooves. Yeah. Because this is actually quite uncomfortable painting these hooves because they look a little bit like rotted teeth. And I'm so funny about my teeth. I don't like it. Grim. Well, not rotted teeth, but like a cavity in a tooth. Bleh. Beep, 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 beep. I have a question for chat. Is anybody engaging in this a million models challenge that Games Workshop is doing? I haven't been to a local Games Workshop yet, but I might engage. I pledge that I will do 50 models. Nah, impossible, bro. I'm already... I'm already on 18. And getting these done will take me to 21. Yay. And then I've got 5 Rot Swords and 5 Putrid Blight Kings to do. That's 31. And 10 Pestigors. That's 41. And then I don't have much else. But we're only 12 days into the new year. Brr. Hello, Stick Monkey. Haven't seen you in a long time. How are you? By May, you could be about 200, knowing you. I would almost guarantee it, I would suspect. I mean, what are we on now? So we're on 18, and it's the 12th. So if I was to paint 6 models today, that would put us on... We'd be doubled out. Anyway. 18 divided by 12, what's that? And then times that by the amount of days between now and May. And that will tell you roughly how many I, on average, should achieve by then. Living a dream, been buying a house, so very stressed. Oh, that's what we're trying to do, Stick Monkey. It's really hard. So I fully empathise with that. The thing that I find so annoying about the house buying process, and I've said this to Alice, is the amount of times where you're in the midst of doing it, and then someone will say, you're in the midst of doing something, and someone will be like, oh yeah, and you've also got to pay for this. Oh, right, that as well. Oh yeah, and then there's this. Okay. Just all those extra things. It's like you stand up and say, I am buying a house. And then a number of people sort of walk up to you and just go, money, please. I imagine for Captain Mannering's building the house, it was exactly the same, but worse. They do say it's like one of the most stressful things you can do in life. Is purchasing a house. It's in like the top five most stressful things you have to go through. Or people go through, I should say. The other one is being a YouTuber. Oh, it's just such a stressful... I mean, no, that sounds like I'm making fun. It is a pretty stressful life, but it's also the easiest life you can have at the same time. Alright, we're done with that. Having children, number 1, no contest. Yeah, no, that's it. I know that that's in there. Which is more stressful, marriage or divorce? This is a strange conversation to have, but let's have it anyway. Top let's look it up. Top 5 most stressful life events. This article. It says, oh, death of a loved one, divorce, moving, major illness or injury, and job loss. Apparently that is the top 5 most stressful things. I'm surprised that having children isn't up there. I mean, they are a blessing, of course. I think that's people not answering in. I think that's people not answering 100% truthfully, because you don't want to sound like a bad parent saying having kids was really stressful. Do you know what I mean? Kids health scare, and it's not even close. I'd say that falls under major illness or injury. Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of stressful things that happen to us. The best thing to do is to sit and paint miniatures and ignore all of it. No, that's terrible advice. Never do that. Kids are a blessing of Nurgle. Oh, God. Tell me about it. Right, realistically, for the horse as a whole, there's 2 things left to do. One is to apply skeleton horde to the bones, and the other is to blend up some rattling grime up the feet. That's the 2 things left to do on the horse. Then it would be the barding and the leather. Now, barding, what we're going to do is we're going to follow Nighthaunt for that, so we're going to apply Briar Queen Chill. Then we're going to blend over to top some thin down Pterodon Turquoise. Then blend in some Black Templar, and for the barding, all the leather, we're just going to use Cygor Brown. Make things nice and easy, because then all that remains on them is metallics, but we do the metallics at the same time as we do the riders, because that's generally how I like to do things. Didn't mean to make the conversation heavy, wasn't the intent at all. I don't think that's your fault, Mike, at all. I think that's my fault for bringing up stress. And asking what's the most stressful thing that happens in your life. And you said, we lost a daughter at a young age. It's not the kids that are the stress, it's worrying about them and keeping them safe. That's the stress. That really, really sucks. That is brutal. Yeah, that's my bad. Having 4 kids and a wife, not divorced yet due to her not finding out how much I spend on Warhammer, can confirm kids the most stressful. But you're but you're saying you're not divorced yet for not finding out how much you spend on Warhammer. So surely the hiding of your spending habits might be equal to the stress of your children. You know? go. Anyway. This has been a pretty good effort so far. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling pretty happy with how these have come out. What do you think? You can see the vision, right? Like I said, there's 2 more things left to do, which is to do bones and rattling grime on the legs. Do we have time? Half an hour. We don't have time to do them both. So we'll do the skeleton horde. Why not? Because that's quick. We'll see. We'll see how we've got on. Filming. Move. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some skeleton horde. And we're going to apply this over the top of any bones, spikes, and teeth. Pow. It's quicker on that one. Maybe we will have time. Be good to have the horses fully base coated before we wrap things up on this evening. That would be a lofty goal, but a worthy one nonetheless. Nope, you're done. You're not. Like that. Cool. All right. So here's the thing that's really funny to me, probably not to any of you. But when I'm doing my editing, I have certain things I always spell wrong. Always. One of them is brush. I always spell it as bursh. Don't know why. It's just one of those things. It's a word that I find difficult on the keyboard. I correct it as many times. I hope I know to put it up on there. But anyway, the other thing that I do is I also always spell rattling grime as rattling gourmet. And every time I see rattling grime as a paint, I think rattling gourmet. And it makes me laugh. There you go. Yeah. Okay. And so with that all done, we're now going to take a roughly 2 parts Rattling Grime to 1 part Larmian medium mix. And we're going to do a bit of blending up the legs of the horse. So we're going to apply this like that over the top of the sort of bottom or the socks of the horse up to around about the knee. And then we're just going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're just going to blend out that transition into the Reikland flesh shade. Like that. Boom. Now if we move really fast, I can get this done across all 3. It feels somewhat unlikely. I'm going to have to make a decision as to how I'm going to highlight these. I don't know whether to highlight them properly or whether to dry brush them. Which I know is also a proper highlight, but you know what I mean. If I'm going to line highlight them or dry brush them. I'm leaning towards a dry brush because I don't really want to have a ton of structure to these, because they're meant to be, you know, it's organic, it's soft flesh, right? No matter how rotted. But like the question is, what's the most neutral dry brush? And naturally, like you could say, like Screaming Skull. Screaming Skull's always a good option, but like it's just whether or not that's going to fit with the vibe. Flayed One Flesh feels a little bit too off-white to do. But that's for me to figure out. It'll come to me in a dream. And by a dream, I mean about 20 minutes of staring at it. Rattling Gourmet makes me hungry for a layer brush. As well it should. That's a delicacy around these parts. Just a little angle where that one's visible. There we go. Got it. I'm assuming because you guys watch my videos and you are into the content that I make, that you may agree with me when I say, man, do I love painting the way I paint. I mean, you might not, obviously. That's up to you. But, like, I just, sometimes as I'm doing something like this, just casually blending some grime into the flesh of a horse, I just think before these paints were invented, I was incapable of doing all of this, and then I just get really appreciative that contrast even exists in the first place, for many reasons. One, because I can paint models the way I dreamed I would be able to paint models when I was a kid. And two, because it's given me a career where I do this for a living. And that's a very special thing. All together, honestly. And we've done. We managed to basically battle ready all three of the horses. Hello, Go For It painting. Boom. Check that out. I had to lock in for a minute there, but we did do it. Nay. See what I mean? I think they look fabulous. I finally managed to make it to another live stream. How long have we been going so far today, and what are we working on? Coffee Gorgon, thank you very much. Welcome. We are working on Sloven Knights. I've now done everything that I kind of set out to do, because we have about 15 minutes left on the stream, unfortunately. Because we started at 2:45. Typically we finish at 7:30, or we try to finish at 7:30, but we're going to go for another 15 minutes because we started at 5:45 today, because I had the dentist and it was awful. Do you have a favourite system, and do you play any games? Love your stuff. Do I have a favourite system? I mean, our lives are a construction of systems, really. It's difficult to pick just one to be a favourite. I haven't played for a little while. It's been a little while. I haven't played since, I think it was Grand Tournament, actually. I think it was the Grand Tournament. The Golden Ticket at Age of Sigmar. That was the last time I think I played. I did play some Dark Water not too long ago. I really enjoyed that. I did that live on the stream. I played a little bit with Alice as well off stream, which is really cool. My favourite Warhammer tabletop game to play is Age of Sigmar. I've always enjoyed that very much. For a long time it was 40k. I did love 40k, but I haven't loved 40k since round about 9th. Playing it, that is. I didn't like 9th. I don't like 10th. I'm hoping that 8th edition, not 8th edition, 11th edition restores my faith in Warhammer 40,000. But yeah, Age of Sigmar, Spearhead, Age of Sigmar, Warcry. That's long been like, they've been like, I feel like they've been like rock stars of my tabletop fun. And it's been difficult to displace them. But like I said, I've got all my fingers crossed that 11th edition comes in and it's like, I am here to make your lives better. There is a casual version of me for you to play, as well as competitive. Casual 40k? You exist again? I'd very much like for Combat Patrol to be spearheadified. I will be shocked if it isn't. I'll be like, well, they're just leaving money on the table at this rate. There's no reason for me to do Project Combat Patrol, is there? If the game's not something I'm ever going to play. AOS best game and best minis. Well, yeah, but there is that, right? Like I make a living making painting tutorials on miniatures, so the more interesting the miniature to paint, the more likely I am to enjoy it. That said, very occasionally 40k comes along and does go, hey, we've got it, we've still got it. You know, I think the Nightbringer is exceptional. I think it is an exceptional miniature. I think it's beautiful. I think more of that is fantastic. Necrosaur Amantar as well. I love that model because brand new model, never heard of it before. At least it wasn't, hey guys, we've redesigned the Nightbringer and Trazen the Infinite. It was, here's a brand new one. That was fantastic. I loved that. So yeah, I'm excited. Oh, and I really like those two Tau battle suits that they previewed a little while ago. I really like those. Really like those models. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Hello, GameX. Would it be possible to maybe get a painting tutorial for Wolfen in Contrast Plus? I know they are old, but I doubt they'll be getting updated soon as they are in the new Combat Patrol. Here's my question about doing, and genuinely, this isn't meant to be like I'm not being an ass. My question is what about Wolfen are you struggling with that needs a tutorial? Because when I look at them, I don't see anything that's not in the 12 Space Wolf tutorials that we've already done. You see? Like skin recipes, hair recipes, fur recipes, the armor, the black, all of that. We've done it all in all of the Space Wolf tutorials we've already done. So it's like, but if you want a fur recipe, there's all the fur that we've done on the head takers, Logan, Njal, twice we've done Njal, Arjak, Bloodclaws, Wolf Scouts, the other one, Grey Hunters. This is what I mean, is like, I don't, for me, it's a case of, I mean, this question has come up a lot with, will you do Wolfen? And I need someone to convince me that there's a reason to do them. What would it take to spearheadify combat patrol? Basically, to spearheadify combat patrol, what you'd need to do is you would need to severely shrink down the you'd severely shrink down the abilities. You'd have to balance everything so that it works against everything. At the moment, what you have with combat patrol is you have too much of a swing either way, because not all combat patrols are made equal. So you have a situation, for example, in Spearhead, right, when you have the Ogre Moor tribes, who I know they're not an ultra powerful, ultra popular choice, but what they are is they're very, very strong, and they have high rend, and they have a lot of shooting. You can't deploy all of Ogre Moor tribes at once. You are physically not allowed to bring in half of it until turn 2 or 3. I can't remember which one it is. Better choice for me to talk about would be the Yndrasta's Spearhead, and that you can't bring in Yndrasta, who is an all-star miniature, and the Annihilators until turn 3. So they're only active from turn 3 and turn 4 for half the game. So you've got to survive with your stuff until they turn up. And if someone crushes them, then it's much easier to deal with Yndrasta when she turns up, because there's nothing else there on the tabletop. There's stuff like that with Custodes, for example, where if you're just able to deploy all of Custodes, it's just a bit unfair. The other part of it, right, is that there are, again, not all things are created equal. So you need to find a way to make things so that they are created equal, and you need to create a game system as well where there's random scoring, specific boards, specific terrains set up, and specific ways to score it. At the moment, Combat Patrol, more or less, is just a game with some of the rules taken out, like the main army rules taken out. But you just play on sort of regular 40k sized games anyway, and in that. On like a half board or a quarter board or whatever it is the size that you play it on. And the problem with that for me is that, like I said, you do have some combat patrols which are like 600-700 points in the box, and then you have like guard where there's about 300 points in the box. So as a balancing mechanic, it's just like, well, what's the point? So you need to have like recyclability for everything in the guard to be able to match up against just even like your bog standard Space Marines. So everything needs to be balanced properly against one another in a game where they all score, or everyone has an opportunity to just score, and they have their own tips and tricks that they can pull out in much the way that Spearhead has. And is Spearhead perfect? No. But it's close. There's a couple of things where it's like, oh god, this is just a terrible matchup for me. But you still have a chance based on the cards. Your opponent might draw awful cards and not score anything, and you might draw fantastic cards and score a bunch of points. That's the thing. There's a lot of really cool stuff they could do with it, where you just have a chance. You always have a chance. But yeah, there's a lot. It needs a serious rework. Combat Patrol as a game, because it's at the moment I don't think it's fit for purpose at all. They should make boarding actions the 40k Spearhead variant. It's not a terrible idea, but the problem with boarding actions is it requires a lot of terrain, which is not very friendly to people wanting to start. You have to have a whole boarding actions terrain. You have to have all the walls. I don't have all the walls. I can't play board action. I mean, I've got them. They're in boxes. I haven't built them or painted them because I just simply haven't had the time. But it's in Spearhead you have 4 pieces of terrain, not a 20 by 40 board that has to be filled with terrain for it to work. It's you need to make it so it's a lot simpler. And like I said, just have it balanced in such a way where it I'm mostly worried that if I use a normal skin recipe, these small patches of fur would look really weird and stark. This is the thing, though, is though. So like again. So I'm looking at this Wolfen model, and they just go for a slightly subtler brown over the top of the fur. I don't really want to paint them because I know you said that they're unlikely to get redesigned, but hey, let's face it, it's Games Workshop. They are probably quite likely to either be taken out completely because they just decide, nah, we don't want them in, or they are going to get a full redesign. It depends on your color choice ultimately. Like if you go for like Gilliman flesh as your main color, then using just a little bit of and like avoid the fur, using a bit of like wildwood, it's not a full, and then of course you can blend stuff in, right? That's the thing, is I don't really want to make the video because I don't want to buy and build and paint them, and I feel like it's mostly covered. If I'm gonna go to my YouTube channel now, I'm gonna find you a video which will show you how to do it. I'm gonna hang on. Let's go view channel videos. Let's go. I was thinking that something like because I've definitely done models that are very, very similar in the past. Basically really hairy people. I was thinking... I mean, all of my Skaven videos are really appropriate. The Brood Terror is an example of fur and skin next to each other. Werewolves of Angmar, that's another video that would work. Show you how to do the skin. Yeah. That's the answer. Something like Felgrin as well. He was also a hairy boy. Lord Falcon of Felgrin. Would Radukar the Beast work? It would if I'd done it. I haven't done it. I haven't done Radukar. There is a Sloven Knight. Sloven Knight. Sloven Knight. Sloven Knight. Sloven Knight. Sloven Knight. Pow. All done. So, we'll continue those later this week, I'm sure. But for now, that's going to be it, I'm afraid. So we're going to run off. We will be live again on Wednesday, I'm sure, doing something. And live again on Friday, doing a watch-along for the preview show, which will be cool. It is definitely Friday. I'm just going to make sure that I'm not lying to you. 16th of Jan at 7:30 p.m. GMT. Ooh. That clashes with dinner. Oh well, I'll just have to early dinner. Maybe. I'll talk to Alice, but we will do something around that. And then, yeah, there will be the Wardens of Ultramar on Thursday. So, yeah, catch you later, guys. Hand a farewell. Bye for now. Ta-ta.